Abu Bakr al-Siddiq was the first man to believe in the Prophet, may God bless him and grant him peace, and his companion in the cave. Despite all the battles he fought, he was not killed in battle. In the 13th year of the Hijrah, in Medina, he contracted a severe fever that confined him to bed. It was said that it was the effect of poison that had been slipped into his food some time before his death. He peacefully surrendered his pure soul to be buried next to the one he loved most, the Messenger of God, may God bless him and grant him peace. May God be pleased with him. Umar ibn al-Khattab, al-Faruq, through whom God strengthened Islam, and against whom the devils used to travel in a different way, in the month of Dhul al-Hijjah of the year 23 in Medina, while he was saying the takbir to lead the Muslims in the far prayer, the poisoned dagger of treachery crept in with hateful steps. Abu Lu'lu'a al-Majusi stabbed him 6 treacherously in his prayer niche. Umar fell as a martyr in his prayer, as he had always wished. May God be pleased with him. Uthman ibn Affan, the possessor of the 2 lights, from whom the angels were shy, equipped the army of hardship with his wealth in the year 35 in Medina. Al-Munawwara was besieged by rebels in his house for 4 days. They cut off his water supply, even though he had purchased the well of Ruma for the Muslims. They stormed his house while he was fasting, reciting the Quran in a tranquil voice. He was struck with a sword, and the first drop of his pure blood fell upon the words of God Almighty, so he will suffice you against them. He died a martyr, patient and resigned to God's will. May God be pleased with him and grant him his favor. Ali ibn Abi Talib, the cousin of the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, and the husband of Fatima, the first self-sacrificing hero in Islam and the Lion of God, was martyred in the month of Ramadan in the year 40 in the city of Kufa, Iraq. He went out at dawn to awaken people for prayer, only to be attacked by the Kharijite Abd al-Rahman ibn Muljam, who struck him on the head with a poisoned sword. Ali cried out his famous and immortal words, "By the Lord of the Kaaba, I have won," and ascended to the rank of a great martyr. May God be pleased with him and grant him his favor. Talha ibn Ubaydallah, the living martyr, who defended the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, on the day of Uhud with his body until his hand was paralyzed, was martyred in the year 36 in Basra during the tragic Battle of the Camel when he witnessed the fitna, civil strife. He decided to withdraw and leave the fighting to prevent bloodshed. As he was retreating, a stray arrow, whose true archer was unknown, struck him in the knee, severing his vein. He bled to death, meeting God as a martyr. May God be pleased with him. Ibn al-Awwam, the disciple of the Messenger of God, peace and blessings be upon him, and the first to draw a sword in the cause of God, in the year 36 in Wadi al-Siba near Basra, just like his companion Talha. Al-Zubair withdrew from the Battle of the Camel after remembering a hadith of the Messenger of God. A man named Ibn Jurmuz followed him and took advantage of Al-Zubair's prayer or sleep, according to some accounts, and killed him treacherously. The disciple of the Prophet died a martyr. May God be pleased with him. Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas, the maternal uncle whom the Prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, ransomed with his own parents, the first to shoot an arrow in Islam, and the commander of the Battle of Qadisiyah, lived a long life until the year 55 AH. He completely withdrew from the conflicts and stayed in a palace in Al-Aqiq outside Medina. When death came to him, he asked to be shrouded in an old woolen cloak that he had worn in battle. He died in his bed at the Battle of Badr, and he was the last of the 10 promised paradise. May God be pleased with him and grant him his. Abdurrahman ibn Awf, the brilliant merchant and billionaire, who spent countless sums in the cause of God, until all the people of Medina became partners in his wealth, passed away in the year 32 AH in Medina. He lay on his deathbed weeping, fearful that his wealth would prevent him from joining his companions in paradise. He peacefully surrendered his soul to his Creator after a life full of giving. May God be pleased with him and grant him his favor. Abu Ubaidah Amir ibn al-Jarrah, the trusted one of this nation and the conqueror of the Romans in the Levant, passed away in the year 18 AH in the Jordan Valley in northern Syria. A terrifying plague, known as the Plague of Amwas, swept through the region. Umar ibn al-Khattab ordered him to return to save his soldiers, but he refused to leave them, saying, "I am with an army of Muslims, I will not separate myself from them." He contracted the plague and died a martyr among his soldiers. May God be pleased with him. Sa'id ibn Zayd was among the first to embrace Islam, and he and his wife, Fatima bint al-Khattab, were instrumental in the conversion of Umar ibn al-Khattab. Despite his immense virtue, he was an ascetic and quiet man, shunning the limelight and positions of power. In the year 50 or 51 AH, Sa'id ibn Zayd fell ill with a fatal illness in his homeland. His soul departed peacefully, and he was carried on shoulders to be buried in Medina. May God be pleased with him. 10 men met different ends, some died in their beds, some were assassinated by treachery, and some perished from the plague. But does it matter how they died? The only thing that matters is that they all died, and their places in paradise await them. They were not deceived by worldly pleasures, nor were they misled by promises. Rather, they lived as men and died as heroes, knowing that the path to paradise is paved with truthfulness and sacrifice, not with comfort and mere preaching. And here we have reached the end of this video.